Brother.
Max Holloway has cooked Charles Oliveira. He's also calling for BMF rankings. Stupid idea. And also, JDM is cooking Ilia Topuria. Let's get into it in today's video. We'll start with Max Holloway, right? So Max Holloway, oh boy, evil Max Holloway, people are saying, and I love this, man. Max Holloway does not give no craps anymore. He says, I heard Oliveira was yapping about an injury in our first fight. Last time I checked, the doctor said there was no injury. I have no idea what the hell he's talking about. So I already did a video on Oliveira being a sore loser. I'm just going to say that. He is a sore loser. Now, I haven't heard him say that. I haven't heard him yap about the injury in the first fight. Now, I always assumed it was a real injury, some sort of like neck, esophagus injury, some weird esophagus injury. That's like Dana White, John Jones territory. But I always assumed it was a legitimate injury. But if apparently the doctor said there was no actual injury, that's a horrible look for Charles Oliveira. And it does kind of feed into the quitter narrative. Now, again, I've already done a video on this, but he is a sore loser. So it wouldn't shock me if he kind of just made this whole thing up about, bigger champion. And I don't know how to talk like Charles Oliveira because he sounds like a retard, but you get my point. So, yeah, Max Holloway, he's cooking Charles Oliveira. I've seen people say they want this fight next. Doesn't really do a lot for me. I much prefer, Holloway versus Arman. Holloway versus, Pimblett, but it doesn't really match up scheduling-wise. And then, obviously, it's really only him versus Arman or him versus Dan Hooker. Those are the only two options there. And those two fights excite me a lot more than him versus Charles Oliveira. Maybe it's because Charles Oliveira just got flatlined. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm discrediting Charles Oliveira or I'm counting him out or whatever the case may be. But that fight doesn't do a lot for me personally. I'd rather see Charles fight like, dare I say, Gamrot or Fiziev. As crazy as that sounds, I don't really care to see him versus Holloway. I'm sorry. But it'd be a big fight, so it is what it is. But yeah, Holloway cooking Oliveira, man. I was not expecting this. Now, I guess Max Holloway has this amazing idea to get BMF rankings going. Let's just listen, I guess.
We need a BMF ranking. UFC, please have a BMF ranking.
Yeah, you're right.
I love that.
You got to work your way up.
Yeah, so we can let them know. I'm not saying no to Dan Hooker, but I'm just saying, can we please have a BMF ranking so we can see it? Actually, I don't even know if it's UFC. Can we get the fans to do it? Because UFC's rankings is fucking all over the place. We need a...
First, I want to touch on the fans thing, which is pretty funny. I'm going to say this. If the fans were able to vote for the rankings for a BMF, whatever the case... If the fans were able to pick the BMF rankings, it would be terrible. Because you already see there's certain people, certain fans that think Arman Tsarukyan is top 15 on the all-time GOAT list. Imagine, with all of Islam Makhachev's fans, all of Movsar Evloev's fans, all of Ankalaev's fans, bro, people would have like Evloev as like a top 3 BMF, and Ankalaev would be top 5, and Islam would be number 1. I guarantee you. If we're doing it off of fan voting, there's more Dagestanis. It is what it is. I think that's a terrible idea. But the BMF rankings in general are a terrible idea because, bro, you're a BMF if you're the champion. You're a BMF if you're Ilia Topuria, Volkanovski, Merab, Pantoja. Ankalaev. I was about to say Alex Pereira. That's how irrelevant Ankalaev is. No offense. DDP, those are BMFs. The guys that are number 2 ranked, number 3 ranked, number 4 ranked in these divisions, those are BMFs. You want to do a separate rankings for what? Oh, so we could have let's see. I think number 1. Who do you even have as like who? Number 1 Holloway? And then what? Dan Hooker? And then like Gaethje? It would be a bunch of old guys that brawl, old white guys that brawl. Trevor Peak? I don't know, man. I think that's a retarded idea. Would you have Ilia in the BMF rankings? Even though he's the champion of lightweight, but he would be, I guess he'd be ranked under Max Holloway because he's not as much of a BMF as Max Holloway, even though Ilia's belt is real and Max's is made up. This is what I'm saying. When you actually speak it out loud, it's very silly. So no, we should not have BMF rankings. And finally, we have JDM cooking Ilia Topuria. So Ilia Topuria posted like still mine on like Instagram or Twitter or something regarding the BMF title. So he's walking around still showing off that he has the BMF title, the replica, because Max is the real BMF. The guy who just got flatline killed before the Poirier fight. I'm kidding. I don't want to rag on Max Holloway, but I'm just saying the whole thing is very silly because he had just gotten KO'd and now he's still some BMF. Nonetheless, JDM said, "Little fella's a little confused. It's actually mine." So yeah, JDM is well, technically, right? If we're going by realistically, it should be JDM because let's see, Masvidal lost to, who did he lose to? Colby? No, he lost to Usman, and then Usman lost to Leon, who lost to Bilal, who lost to JDM. Boom. So the real BMF champion should really be Jack Della Maddalena, but it is what it is. Max Holloway, though, he's cooking Charles a little bit. JDM cooked Ilia a little bit as well, and I like the idea of JDM Ilia. Even though I think Ilia doesn't have a big chance of beating him at all, I do think it's Ilia Topuria, and it's one of those where it's like, oh no, he has no chance against JDM. And as we get closer to the fight, we're like, hold on, hold on there, Ilia. It's just one of those where people will instantly write it off, but Ilia is so good at selling himself that we'll be convinced he actually could do it. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I do not like the idea of BMF rankings at all, especially voted by fans. That is a terrible idea, man. Again, because how would that even... What if someone just botted the votes, and it's just... Logistically, it wouldn't make sense. JDM cooked Ilia. Max cooked Charles. Make sure you guys like and sub. Become a member in the description. Share the video, comment, blah, blah, blah. Peace.